For more analysis on this Iron Beam, let's bring in retired Major General William Enyart. General, thank you so much for your time here. So Elizabeth gave us a bit of a breakdown on this. How significant is this Iron Beam? How could it change how the war is fought?
It's good to be with you, Adrienne. This is not what we'd call a game changer. It certainly adds another layer of defense, though, to Israel's multi-layered defense approach. This is a relatively short-range weapon system. It reaches out to, about 6 miles. So it will protect close in, while Iron Dome is a much further range weapon system. As your previous correspondent noted, it's a hard to compare the cost, but it certainly does have some advantages in terms of cost as well as in terms of collateral damage. It's not a game changer, but it certainly will be effective against mortars and drones as well as rockets.
All right, so General, I want to hone in on that and the fact that it is touted as causing this limited collateral damage. I know Elizabeth went into it a bit, but from your perspective, as a general, how does it limit that collateral damage?
Well, when you fire an interceptor rocket, what you're doing is you're striking the incoming missile and exploding it. So you are receiving exploding shards of metal and debris from the incoming rocket, as well as your interceptor rocket. And most of those shards will not burn up, but rather they'll fall to earth, and that's what causes the collateral damage. It's like shrapnel falling over a relatively wide range, depending on how high up you hit it. On the other hand, with this Iron Beam, according to the way it's programmed to work, you're not going to have the shrapnel from your own interceptor rocket falling down back to earth. You may well have some shrapnel coming in from the incoming rocket, but it's going to be reduced by a significant amount.
All right, so do we know, General, the extent of what Hamas is capable of, possibly Hezbollah too? Because how important will this combined Iron Beam and the Dome be to defending against Hamas, possibly Hezbollah, and all of the arsenal that is from both of those groups potentially?
Well, that's certainly the big question, isn't it? Hamas has proven that they can fire thousands of rockets in a day at Israel. And so if you're talking about firing thousands of rockets a day, you are going to have significant leakage. There's going to be lots of rockets that get through. I think what Israel, in addition to having the defenses, the air defenses that it has to have, such as Iron Beam and Iron Dome, really needs to be able to stop the import of weapons, the rockets, the mortar shells, the munitions that Iran is successfully getting into not only the Gaza Strip, but also countries such as Yemen and other places. Frankly, I can't understand why Israel has not been more successful, and we all should really focus on the import of those weapons. The Gaza Strip is a very small territory. It's about half the size of the city of Chicago. It's bordered on the west by the Mediterranean Sea, on the north and the east by Israel, and on the south by Egypt. So it's entirely surrounded, and it should be relatively easy to stop those munitions from coming in. But for some reason, they still manage to get in. And it's a whole lot easier to prevent them from getting in than it is to stop them once they've been fired.
A very good point there, General. So this beam is called this directed energy. In the future, will wars primarily be fought remotely with more weapons utilizing tools like this directed energy, do you think, and less, on the ground, combat-to-combat fighting?
It always boils down to boots on the ground. It always boils down to a soldier with a rifle holding territory. And you can't hold territory without troops on the ground. So these beams and all the other technology that we've seen develop certainly have had a major impact on wars. But let's take a look at Ukraine. They're digging trenches and have been digging trenches there for the last couple of years. That's World War I technology. That's Civil War technology. So you're still going to have boots on the ground, irrespective of the beams that you put into the air or the rockets or the missiles. In order to hold ground, you've always got to have an infantryman with a rifle.
All right, so those boots on the ground will always be there. All right, General Enyart, thank you. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.